everybody. Thank you for joining me today. The first piece was one of my favorite pieces by an amazing British composer named David Hayes, and it's called Ilmarinen, and it's sort of based on Finnish folklore. It's called The Spirit of Air, the Maker of Heaven. What I love about that piece is all the different sound effects that you can hear that the bass can make, and it's really fun to play, but I hope it's really interesting to listen to. Today's recital features a lot of different kinds of music from England, from France, from Spain, from Venezuela, from Norway, from America, all different regions of America. Music inspired by Finland and the Moorish music in Spain. So hopefully I'm taking you around the world a little bit today. The next piece is a piece by Guillermo Pérez, and he's from Venezuela. And this is written in celebration of the birthdays of two of the most major composers for double bass, who are Frank Proto and Teppo Aho. They're both turning 80 in 2021. And so David Hayes, who has spearheaded many amazing projects for bass music, he has decided to do a big celebration for them. And Guillermo Pérez wrote this piece called Celebration, and he actually dedicated it to me, and I'm really honored. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to my tuning for the next one. I always like to be cautious, especially at this time of year where the weather is crazy up here in Boston. All that strumming pizzicato can make it interesting. Great. So the next piece is the first movement from 3 dances for double bass, written by Spanish composer Simón Garcia. And this one was commissioned and dedicated to Dan Stiffa, who's another Scandinavian double bass player. So this one's really fun. I think you'll love the Spanish influences in this. next piece that I'm going to play is from a bigger piece, another one called Mayurqa Memories. And this is the third movement from it. Mayurqa Memories was written by David Hayes, and it's really kind of captures the amazing multicultural influences in the Spanish island of Mallorca. And, you know, you have a lot of Moorish influences and all kinds of interesting things. And so this is built to sort of demonstrate the beautiful flavor of music that you might hear there. And this movement, Medina Mayurqa, is the third movement from that piece, and he dedicated it to me as well. So I feel very privileged. Thank you. I wanted to tell you one quick thing about some of the things that you're hearing. You're hearing what we call pizzicato, which is when you pluck the string, but David Hayes and Luis Guillermo Pérez asked for things like strumming rather than just, which you're also hearing some of that. But almost everyone so far has asked for this really cool effect called sol ponticello, which is not your internet connection going wrong. It's me playing closer to the bridge and creating that kind of icy sound where you hear lots of harmonics and overtones and very little of the actual fundamental pitch. David Hayes even specifies sometimes between like how ponticello you should be, just a little bit or a lot, which is very cool. And in the opening piece, he had me play something called sul tasto, which is Italian for put the bow over the fingerboard. Doesn't sound like that, does it? But it had the, which is just sort of a lighter, airier sound. And so I love that these composers have asked for more than just normal standard notes on a page. There's a lot of feeling and heart to them. Speaking of feeling and heart, we're going back to Simón Garcia from Spain. And he wrote a piece 4 years ago to celebrate the 75th birthday of Teppo Aho, who I talked about before. He's going to be 80 next year. And this piece is called 3 for Teppo. It's 3 very short movements. The first movement is called A Second Life. And what it's really about is, Scandinavian culture, and I can say this because I'm part Scandinavian, has ingrained in its culture this folklore. Very cool stories, east of the sun, west of the moon, magical things in their folklore. It's very neat. So the first movement sort of sets up that feeling, the second life being the world of folklore. The second movement is called Polar Lights. I don't think I need to tell you what that's about. I think you'll guess it. And the third movement is called Ajatar, and it's like the Finnish folklore's evil character that lives in the woods. And what I love about this one, to me, in the middle of this movement, there's a little bit of like a chase scene. It's really kind of fun to play. I hope it's as enjoyable to listen to. Okay, so 3 for Teppo. right. So the next piece is another one by David Hayes. In case you couldn't tell, I really love his music. Also, pretty much everything in this first half of the program that I'm playing has been or will soon be published by recitalmusic.net, which is David Hayes's affiliated publishing house. Just in case you're like a bass player and in love with one of these, you know where to get it. Okay, so this next piece is also for the 80th birthday celebration of Teppo and Frank Proto, and it's called Songlines. Great. So the last one on this portion of the program, before I introduce my dad, is a piece by Lloyd Goldstein, who was an orchestral player in Florida and had a great career, and the orchestras in the early 2000s, a whole bunch of them folded, and his was one of them. But he has done the most admirable thing I think a person in the world can do.
Mommy!
He has redirected his career, and he plays in hospitals for patients who are sick, mostly cancer centers, like the Mammoth cancer centers. And a lot of times he plays music that everybody knows, And many times he plays tunes that he's sort of making up on the fly. He's got a brilliant mind. And when he finds one that he really likes, he sticks with it, he develops it, and oftentimes he writes it down. He posted this one, himself playing it, in Facebook a few years ago, and I said to him, I need to play this. It is so cool. And he hadn't yet written it down, so I felt really, really special. He wrote it out for me. It's called The Woolly Mammoth, and I think, once again, we've got a title that I think you'll be able to figure out what it is. I just want to retune one more time. Sorry, it's a little warm in here. Here's the Woolly Mammoth.
Woo!
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move a tiny bit, and I want to introduce to you my very first bass teacher, who's my dad, Roy Hagen. He's an amazing guitar player and singer and electric bass player, and he played double bass. He's a man who can do an awful lot of things. My mom is an amazing pianist, and she was my first piano teacher, actually my piano teacher for many, many years. And my dad was my first bass teacher, and now that I'm kind of grown up, I hope, I get to play with them, and it's really, really fun. So we've sort of cooked up the second half of the program that I hope you'll find to be very fun. We've got another piece by David Hayes and some other cool little treats. I'm going to give my dad a second to settle in and get tuned. Anyone who thinks I'm slightly tuning obsessed, well, if you're one of my students, you'll know I am. But here in Boston in mid-June, it's been sort of 85 degrees, 65 degrees, rainy, not rainy. It's a little bit wonky, so just like to double check so that then if something's out of tune, it's my fault and not the bass. Okay, so the first piece we're going to play by David Hayes is called No Man's Land. And he wrote it in memory of both of his grandfathers who survived World War I. And to me, this just, you just see this very eerie landscape of kind of, you know, that area. There were areas during wars, unfortunately, where it was kind of like no one had claimed the land. And so I just sort of picture it's dawn and there's still a little bit of mist clinging to the sky and on the grass. And this is what it sounds like. this next tune. Something special. So, some of you may know the folk, jazz, multicultural singer, vocalist, fiddle player, banjo player extraordinaire, Rhiannon Giddens. She hails from North Carolina. I had the opportunity to play with her with the Boston Pops about 2 years ago, and I heard this song. It's literally a song. She had written it, and I fell in love with it. And after the rehearsal, I went backstage, and I figured out that it actually could lay nicely on the bass. And I talked to her and got her blessing to play it on bass. Not everybody is always happy with that, so I was thrilled. What she said about this piece, it's called He Will See You Through. And she based it on Black spirituals from the South, from her heritage, which is many different things, including Creole. And it's just sort of, whether you're religious or not, when life is tough, he'll see you through. And I just think it's a great sentiment. We played it in March on a recital before Boston basically shut down. And man, it seemed so significant and powerful then, and I think it still does. So I really hope you love it. If you don't tell me. I love this. into the land of the French art song. New piece by Claude Debussy called Soir, Beautiful Evening. And I'm going to be really honest with you. Till a couple years ago when I started playing with my dad, I wasn't a fan of French music. I'm sorry. I know that can offend some people. I just wasn't. But then when I got to play some of it with my dad, I suddenly understood the beauty of it. And maybe it's because I got to play with him. Maybe it's just he was picking better pieces. Probably a very solid combination, especially the getting to play with him part. So we've been adding some French songs into our little set list over the past few years. So, you good? You need to check the tune, or you good?
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Tuning. He had a capo on, so that can always be funky. And there's big trucks going by anyway. The joys of being at home. I like to sing it.
Oh.
So, the next one is Gabriel Faure, and this is called The Cradles. And I have seriously never heard this one before until my dad introduced me to it. And now I think it's in my top, definitely in the top faves. This brings us to the last thing on our program, which is kind of a medley, I would say, of two seemingly unrelated tunes that just sort of mash up really well together. The first one is by the Norwegian rock band, or electric pop, really, from the 80s, Aha, and they hailed from Norway. As a kid, I was obsessed with them, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I haven't outgrown that obsession. I think they're fabulous musicians, and beyond the song Take On Me, which everybody knows, they've got some really beautiful pieces, songs. This one was written, the lead singer was in school to become a minister. And that's only important because the message of this song is very powerful. Stay on these roads is the name of it. And it's basically, keep doing what we're doing. We're going to be okay. We'll be together again, which I chose this in, February or something. And I have no idea. We were headed towards a pandemic, but stay on these roads. We will meet again in person. Things will get better. And the second song that leads into it is called What a Beautiful Name It Is. And for those of you who believe in God and believe in Jesus, you'll love this. And for those of you who don't believe in God and don't believe in Jesus, that's okay. You're still going to love this song because it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to double check my tuning one last time. He has a magic capo on this one that's different than the other capo, so. All right, enjoy.
Bravo!
Encore.
Does anyone have any questions?
I have one question. Hi,
Okay.
Susan. It's Marie. I just have a question. What made you choose the bass?
That is such a good question in retrospect.
Is that your mother asking?
Oh, I know, right? This is a very popular question. I loved the
Hi, Roy.
absolutely loved my parents. I was so fortunate. My parents would bring us to symphony concerts when we were kids, and I would come home singing what I had just heard, and my parents would inevitably be like, "What are you singing?" And I'd say, "Oh, that's Beethoven 5, or whatever we had just heard." And they're like, "Well, that doesn't sound like the melody to me." And then they'd put on the record. Yes, record. I would be singing the bass line. I always heard it, and I love the way like my body rumbles when the bass is playing. It's just like I just feel like the vibrations are really cool, and I just love the sound. So I mean, someone's gonna be the foundation of an orchestra. So why not someone who loves it?
So good. So true. And you are really awesome.
Oh, thank you.
So are you, Roy.
He is awesome. I'm really fortunate because my parents and my sisters is just really an amazing group of musicians. My husband, everyone's musicians in my family. So even my nephew, my 11-year-old nephew, multi-instrumentalist.
I know you guys really well. Marie from Gina's across the street from Gina.
I recognize your voice.
Oh,
But I figured
that's
the
a
others here
problem.
don't know that.
That could be a problem.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. First of all, it was lovely. It took me a little while to get into the sound of the bass, but once I did, I was totally mesmerized.
Oh, I'm so glad. We have a convert.
Yes, but what is the difference? Is there a difference between, I thought the term was bass, and now you're
Well, yes.
double bass?
We play the bass part, so sort of the vernacular is bass, but what happens is the music that you see written, get an actual bass part, what you would hear is one octave, oh my gosh, one octave below what's printed. There we go. So if you read music, the first note of this is a B, but what you would hear is not where it's written, you hear it an octave lower. So they dubbed us the double bass, meaning twice as low as you thought, or the contrabass. And of course, we're in so many languages, there are so many different translations. But you can call it the bass and you're not wrong.
And you're not wrong. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you ended up liking the bass.
Hi, Susan. It's Sarah from England.
Oh, Sarah!
Hi, I'm hiding. How are you? Lovely, lovely concert. Thank you very much indeed.
This is Sarah Poole and David Hayes, the famous David Hayes, who I played like a million of his pieces on here.
He's
Wow.
hiding in the corner, so am I. We're really shy. We're just tiring English people. Lovely concert. May I ask you a question?
Yes.
As a singer, when you're learning you played two of my most favourite pieces in the whole world tonight. When you're preparing, I know I listen to David's students playing, particularly Après un rêve. I just wondered, when you're learning it, how do you approach your performance of a very famous piece by a vocalist?
Gosh, I waver between listening to a lot of recordings and not listening to a lot of recordings because I want to still have my own interpretation if it's something that's famous. But when I'm first learning it, I'll listen to recordings so that I have an idea of what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
And I kind of just technically speaking, I'll mark out the parts that are really harder than the other parts, and I practice those first. The first thing in the day, I warm up, and then those turn into like little technical exercises at the beginning of my practice, especially when it's a piece that somebody knows, like the French art songs. A lot of people know those, and if they go foul, people are going to notice. And so I want to make sure I get them really under my fingers comfortably, slowly. Oh my gosh. I am like the slow motion queen.
Do you read the text? Do you sort of look into that part of it as well?
I use the text to help inform my bow changes. For those of you who don't play bass, that would be when there'd be a little more of an articulated difference between la la la. And also, there can be a passage that you think, oh, this is so beautiful, the cradle, for instance, and then you look at the words and it's like, mother's heart is broken because her kid's not coming back. And you're like, oh, this isn't beautiful. This is heart-wrenching. And so you've got to make sure you play it correctly. So I do read the text. Sometimes I have to torn between whether to go with the French text or the English text, but since I'm not fluent in French, I kind of went with the English versions.
Well, that's fair enough. Not everybody's fluent. I mean, you know, we can't be, can we? But I just wondered how you do it, because I sometimes earwig on David's students, and a couple this week I've been screaming in my head, you know, to say how you look at the text, look at the words, make sure it's
I think you have to.
yes. But it's beautiful. Thank you very much. They're lovely. And the boss is hiding in the corner, and he's really thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you both very much. It's been lovely.
Thank you. Give him a hug for me, and thank you so much.
I'll say goodbye.
Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, I do. What were in the first piece, which was Hayes?
Mhm.
There were various. First of all, there was the thing that you kept coming back to with that sort of wavering bow. How would you call that? How would you describe that? And then there were some other effects that I couldn't tell, like if it was maybe just sort of hitting the wood on the strings or something.
Oh yeah, you got it. So the first thing, I would just say it was like undulating, right? It started with, hold on, I'm gonna move the microphone. I hope I don't deafen anybody. It started with the same note on two different strings. So it's the exact same pitch if I play it correctly. So this is on one string, it's without being pressed down. And this is on the string next to it.
On an open string.
Yeah, and then that open string that I wasn't pressing down was, anytime you heard that note, it would continue on that, and the moving notes were pressed down on the other string. And he wrote it so clearly, I totally understood what he was asking for. Then you heard, so we take the wood, and it's called colegno battuto. It means to hit the string with the wood. So we have hair. For anyone who doesn't know, don't feel bad. We have hair. It's from the tail of a horse. No horses are injured. It's like going to the hairdresser. And then we have wood. And we typically drag the hair across the string, and that's what gives us the sound you're used to hearing. But David has us hit with the wood, and you get this great percussive sound, but you can still hear the pitch. So he would have us moving our fingers around and hitting, and so it was and sometimes two notes at once. It was a mistake. And then I think I told you earlier about the one called Ponticello, where instead of keeping the bow up here.
There's a question, however, about hitting the strings with the wood, and he specifies that in the score.
Yes.
And so that it wouldn't be good enough to just hit the strings with the hair part of the bow.
No, because in the Woolly Mammoth, there was a part where I went. That's with the hair, and you go really fast. And you get
the rain cover for the bassinet that goes on top of the stroller that I'm.
Someone's talking about a bassinet. Sorry. So the other one I was talking about, we call it ricochet. Like imagine a pinball, and you let it go and it goes like that, and you use the hair for that, and you get a great control if you do it out here towards the tip. And it's actually a different specification from composers. So it's cool because we have very clear instructions. So hopefully we can, replicate what they wanted us to sound like.
Great.
That's a good question because we have a lot of different markings throughout all of music that sort of talk about those different things. So it's not always just playing a normal full note.
Great. And in none of those cases are you prevented from hitting in none of those cases would your left hand be just sitting there watching what's going on. Your left hand is, you're always,
my left hand is
melody, some kind of pitch.
Yeah, I mean, once in a while you'll get, I can't think in this piece of a situation like that, but sometimes you will have like no left hand and they just want you to do it on open strings for the effect. But there's a lot of ringing, and if you have a note pressed down, it doesn't ring quite as much, so you hear more of the percussive attack. But you can do it with the open strings, absolutely. you can do almost anything that you can imagine. You can find a way to do it on a string instrument. And
Actually, and I can't sort of, I can't not ask. A lot of what you're doing, do you think it's your hunch that some of these effects really come off best on the bass because of the size of the instrument?
you know, I was actually just thinking about that. I think so. We have more territory. So I think we might have more options. Like if I don't get the sound hitting the bass I like here, I can move a 1/4 of an inch down here. And, you know, I've got a lot of Beau to work with. I think maybe, what do you think?
Yeah,
I think so. I also think that a lot of composers don't realize, I mean, the composers that I like do, but I think some composers don't realize that we can make those sounds that the violins and violas and cellos can make, and I kind of think they sound even better because we have more room to perfect it.
A lot of those techniques on the violin also.
They do.
You just don't hear it.
Right, like on a violin,
It's
if you were to do that
Yeah.
Collegno, the hitting with the stick, it doesn't project, in my opinion. Now, violinists they might disagree with me, and that's okay, but I feel like it doesn't project the same way. I feel like because we're boomier, we're not necessarily louder, but we're boomier, so an effect like that might project better.
Great, thank you.
No problem, good questions.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to?
I have a question. Do you practice every single day, and for how long?
Good question. So, my family tries to encourage me to take a day off every week. I'm
Good
not always
idea.
great about it. And sometimes I'll go for several weeks without taking a day off, and then I will take a few days off in a row, or I'll take a vacation and I'll just leave this puppy at home because who wants to travel with it on a vacation? And it depends. Like if I have absolutely nothing going on, I might practice for like a half hour and an hour just to practice technique. But to be honest, since the quarantine, I've been practicing more than ever.
Yeah.
I recorded 27 pieces that were brand new to me, one a day for of course. I allowed myself about 6 weeks to do that, I would say.
Yeah.
After that, my family intervened and said, put the bass down and take a few days off, please. But I've been finding inspiration with the extra time that we've been given.
Oh, that's nice.
That big stack of music that's been sitting on my music stand for a couple of years and getting to sort of dig into things and learn new pieces. But, you know, sometimes I don't have as much time to practice because I have 2, 3, 4, 6 hours of rehearsals or concerts in a day. And at that point, you warm up, you look at the hard spots, and then you try to save yourself for a long day of playing. But times right now are a little different, so I'm just trying to take advantage of the extra time.
But in normal life, if we ever get back to that.
Yes.
Practice.
Hopefully concerts will resume, and you know, then I usually do practice almost every single day. I do have one day a week normally that I teach from like 9 in the morning to 6, and I play throughout the day, and I do a little warm up at the beginning, but I don't actually have like time to practice for Susan.
No. Yeah.
But I am playing, which
Right.
is different, more like demonstrating and playing with my students and things like that.
Right. Okay, thank you so much.
No
Oh,
problem.
this was wonderful. This was just, can't find words.
Well, thank you for coming, and I'm glad that it didn't make you think I hate the bass.
No way.
It made me like it even more.
I always feel like if people just have the chance to really hear it up close and personal.
Plus, it's a beautiful piece of sculpture.
It is. I think so.
I mean, all instruments are beautiful, and this is as well. And because of the size of it, it's
You can
sort
see
of
it better.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You can really see it better because it's larger.
Yeah. Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Beauty comes right out of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, where have you posted any of those recordings that you made, or?
Not from today, but yes, I have a website, and my nephew David, this is Marie, isn't it?
Yes, of course it is. Who else?
David made me a YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is Susan Hagen, my name, bass, the instrument, B-A-S-S.
Hey.
And then the website is Susan P. Hagen. because Susan Hagen was taken, susanphagen.com. And I have the 27 pieces that I did for the first 6 weeks of quarantine are posted up there, and recitals and all sorts of stuff. There's tons of videos all over the place there.
I can't wait. I can't wait to go look.
Cool.
I just enjoy your playing. It's amazing.
Thank you. Oh yeah.
I put the link to the YouTube channel in the chat if anyone wants it.
David, you're so cool. And my dad suggested if you listen on the website or on the YouTube channel, like headphones or a Bluetooth speaker, because through your phone or through your computer, the bottom isn't as hefty as it would be in a Bluetooth speaker or headphones.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Anything else? Anybody?
Hey, Sue, this is Kevin and Jackie from New Jersey. How are you?
How are you guys?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for the invite. It was wonderful.
Oh, thank you for coming.
It was great. I hope you do it again for us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry you couldn't get to Hawaii, but maybe this will have been a different experience for you.
Yeah, we actually were able to get there, so that
You
was
went earlier, right? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So it was good. It worked out well. Thank you.
Good.
I hope you're coming to the PAC this year. I hope they redo it if it opens back up again.
As soon as things open, I know we'll be back there because we go there every year. So fingers crossed. Yes.
Yep. Then we'll see you there.
Good. Come up and say hi again.
Absolutely. Thanks again. It was great.
Thank you. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, you too.
Susan, thank you very much for playing all David's music. I know I'm a fan. I know you're a huge fan.
Yes.
I think I married a bass nut, but
and I'm so glad you did. We need him.
If I'd known 40 years ago what I know now, I probably might have changed my mind.
Then it's good you didn't know.
I know. My book is If Only I'd Known, but thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, the bass world needed him desperately because the repertoire that we had, especially in America, I mean, he knows about František Posta and all these other people that we don't know very well over here. And because of him, we're learning about other composers that did exist and then the composers that do exist now. It's great. I'm so grateful.
Well, we're very grateful for you playing his music, and he's just very shy and retiring, and he's not saying anything, but he's in the corner with a huge smile on his face. He's very happy.
Oh, good. As long as he wasn't going, oh no.
No, he wasn't doing that at all. But it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for learning all the pieces, and thank you to everybody else as well, all you other composers. It's just been a really lovely concert. Thank you so much to everybody.
Thank you, Sarah. And you guys stay safe and stay healthy.
We're just staying at home, and I tell you what, we're loving it. We're actually got time together without working, and that's really nice too.
You know what? You got to take the blessings with all the weirdness. So it's good to have some time to slow down and enjoy each other's company.
We're still able to work as well, so we're doing a lot of teaching, but that's brilliant. But yeah, as I say, I'm married to a bass nut, and he's not going to change. So I think I'm just resigned to the fact that that's it now. So
I think so.
We're not spoiling another couple anyway. So. Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sarah. My love to all of you.
Thank you to your dad as well. It's lovely. And thank you to everybody who's been putting this on. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Susan and Roy.
Thank you for having us.
It was fun.
It was wonderful. Learned a lot too.
Oh, good.
I love the questions and all the responses. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thanks everybody for coming. And this is kind of a cool new way of having concerts. I'm kind of liking it. It's a weird feeling to like have a recital and not have to leave my house, yet to have people literally from all over the world be able to join and see it is really cool. So I'm kind of liking it.
Me too.
All right. Well, I'm going to end, and thank you everyone for coming. And
thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, and I don't know if they posted or told you, But some of you were able to get in here for free because you were my guests. And that was the graciousness of Clara and Brenda. If you feel so inclined to support the Music Mondays at the Scandinavian Center, they're paying musicians to play recitals, something we're not able to make money performing right now. So if you feel inclined to donate to them, the Venmo account would be Brenda, and then a dash across, not the underscore one, and then April as in the month. And you can donate money to Music Mondays, and
Support
feel
them.
free to do that. So, but thank you all for having us. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you all soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.